Hey, what's up guys? Towels here with another Project Diablo 2 video. On the last one, I went over my Rathma build and hid a giveaway at the end for all my bossing gear. So thanks to all the subscribers that commented easy peasy at the end, and here is a drawing for the winners. Alright, here's all the commenters from the previous video. Drum roll please. Bam, number 19. So we've got Acron1S. You are the winner. So I'll reach out in the comments on the previous video. Please keep an eye out. Here. So it's pretty much a full set of each my Rathma and my D-clone build with maybe one or two pieces left to complete, but you've got the most expensive bits anyway. So that's easy T1 farming, and with a lot of practice, T2 is possible as well. So in this video, don't you guys worry, I'll be giving away my crossbows on and my singer barb as well. So comment down below your favorite builds so far this season. Doesn't matter which, I'll randomize just like I did earlier for two final winners, one for each build. On to my dungeon build. I'll go over my gear and share my fastest run to date, finishing 2 bosses in 16 minutes. That's a blazing fast time on an easy roll for me, so hard map rolls will still kill me sometimes and can take me like 45 minutes to complete even. The worst ones are multiple added damage rolls because then the Bloodbringers do one shot again. First, some info on dungeons. These are intended to be group farming zones, but with the nerfs this season, it's much more possible to solo them. Unfortunately, they did remove boss item drops last season, so you can't farm Rathma and D-clone items from them any longer. Instead, the bosses have similar drops to Uber Ancients now, something like 5x Veil drops, or along those lines. In the past, I ran these solo on Fire Druid and Corpse Explosion Necro, and those were based on triple damage types. However, with the new nerfs to enemy resistances, lowered from 140 to 120 in most cases, the keys to completing this have changed. Breaking immunities is now possible on a solo build, so max Battlecry and the amp damage from my Merc takes care of all of the physical immunes on the map. Further pierce against broken immunes comes from Berserk, where the skill adds at least minus 30 pierce, and that's huge for damage against those broken immunes. Survivability is the third key, which I will go over the meat shields that I'm able to summon with the revives from the Eternity Berserker Axe, but also 50% PDR, 35 overcap res, some max res, as well as 3.5k HP go a long way. Also, dungeon monsters cannot be slowed in any way by cold, decrep, slow movement. None of these things work, but debuffs like weaken and taunt do work. So, gear-wise, I gotta start with my Eternity Berserker Axe. This is a lesser known rune word, but a really good one, especially for one-handed weapons as it adds 70 to 71 damage on it. That's well over 100% ED for a one-handed ethereal Berserker Axe, and pretty close to 200% ED for a Phase Blade if you were to use that base. Mine also rolled well, hitting 309% ED. The main purpose of this weapon, however, is the plus revive O skill and the summons additional revives mod. This let me summon meat shields in the dungeon. Absolutely huge for survivability, and related to this, on swap, I'm actually running a venom as well, just for the desecrate charges. In this clip of the map that I'm about to share, I did not figure this out on my recorded run, so you'll see me enter with some random revives from Act 2, I think. I can't swap to this mid-run through though, as all my revives will die, so I try to revive every Gorebelly, those big ogre dudes, along the way as well. My second weapon is Azurath. Yes, I'm back to this, and here I'm going to resocket this so that I can add some better jewels in it, adding more minimum damage and minus requirements. You can see the minimum damage once again pushing the max damage up for free added damage. This is my fast hand for IAS, as well as fat magic and at cold damage added, plus the Sanctuary Aura, which synergizes with my Act 4 Dark Mercenary. He's pretty kitted out for 125 FCR because his Bone Spears actually hit decently hard, and with the minus magic resist from Sanctuary, that buffs him a bit further. I also use a 3-socket Halberds, 2 skill 2 max all High Lords, an AR slammed Wisp, these Drax, and War Travs. My second ring is taken off of my multi-shot Zon with FCR damage and all res because I need to overcap by 35 for the lower resist curse, and also sometimes you run into conviction, which is really rough as well. So stacking cold res would actually be great here, but I haven't added that. So the FCR on the ring actually helps a lot as well, especially with the 10% FCR on my armor, which was important because I hit the second breakpoint. In the map, I'm casting a lot of Battle Cry to break Fizz immunes, as well as summoning new Gore Bellies whenever I kill one, and also Grim Ward whenever possible. This is quite a lot of casting for a melee character, so the 20 FCR goes a long way for smoother gameplay. Was really happy to pick up this armor, and I'm stacking it with min damage jewels too. Inventory wise, I'm running all Warcry charms and res and some MF. Warcries are most important because I'm maxing Battlecry and the additional points add to the minus enemy Fizz res. This is key for breaking immunes. This is new this season that immunes are actually breakable by single classes and spells. In previous seasons, even with a level 50 Battlecry, you would not break physical immunes yourself. It will require a high level of amplified damage curse as well. However, they lowered the resistance of the immune mobs like I mentioned, so I knew it would be a possibility. Berserk also, with the additional Pierce, makes it a great choice for this damage skill to use as well. So you can see in the map that Huntresses and Bloodbringers will go down a little slower, but I am still doing good damage to them, especially once my Merc amps them as well. The bit of magic damage doesn't hurt either. Before I jump into the map, I just want to mention that I'm pretty much just doing this for the challenge of it. It's not a very efficient farming tactic, it's really more for group experience play if anything, but it is very difficult. You'll see that it's quite involved in the gameplay and you're at the risk of dying just about the entire time. So I do find it fun, but only if you're into the challenge of it. Alright, and so we will jump into the dungeon now, and you'll see that I have these revives. I picked them up from Act 2, even though now I've figured out that Venom gives you Desecrate, and so you can actually pick up the revives directly from the map instead. It's actually those big ogre dudes, the Blunderboars, that I try to revive as my meat shields. They are the best option for that. And so those are the ones that I'll target to pick up. You'll see that I'm casting a lot of Battle Cries. So far, all of these mobs are not the physical immunes just yet, but you can see Death Lords, they frenzy up and you want to take them out quickly before they start hitting too hard. The Siege Beasts over there, the big ones, they're called Bloodbringers in this map, and they are labeled as deals lethal damage. I think they used to be truly a one-shot, not 100% anymore, because I'm able to survive a couple hits from them unless we have serious damage modifiers on, being like, you know, stacked auras or amplified damage, or map mods can also roll with like something like 95% of damage added as cold damage, and you can roll that twice, so it could be like 90% damage added as lightning damage also, and that seems to all stack, and so a lot of one-shots can happen on really nasty map rolls like that. So like I said, dying does happen on this. Definitely don't recommend it for hardcore, at least to solo, but I play softcore for a reason. So you'll see me doubling back from time to time as well during the map, because these are monsters that I do want to kind of draw into fights, especially when I see auras like they have Fanaticism right now, or if there's really big crowds, and especially a pack of these Siege Beasts, which again, they hit the hardest in the map. So I do try to be strategic on when I'm pushing forward and when I'm pulling back. Those witches are really annoying as well. They shoot you from way off screen and they cast amp damage, so always something to look out for. Also, those Huntresses, they are some of the main physical immunes, along with the Bloodbringers. They're both two of the main physical immunes in the map. The Putrid Defiler is the one that actually casts lower res. The rest, not really too much to worry about. You can see that I just Battle Cry and swinging my way through it, right? When I remember to, I also cast Grim Ward, but none of this is super fast to get through. You do have to kind of take your time going through mob by mob, pack by pack, otherwise you risk getting overwhelmed. Those Misshapens are also physical immune, so that would really be the third immune, I think. Third physical immune. And like I said, Battle Cry does the job for breaking all of those immunities. It's Battle Cry and Amplified Damage both are going to be required if I'm going to face like a Stone Skin version of any of those physical immunes, but otherwise works okay. What's annoying though is sometimes if I'm casting Battle Cry from point blank, that my cast will get interrupted, and then in that case I have to do 2 Battle Cries, and that gets really dicey when I'm, again, like point blank and taking on damage, so can definitely get dicey quickly on a lot of those spots. And then sometimes it's just not pulling back early enough or with good enough reaction time when I do run into a pack with multiple auras on top. So all things to consider as I'm going through this. But you can see the revives doing a great job of taking all of that aggro away from me. If it was just me, and especially on a harder roll, a harder map roll, it's so easy to get overwhelmed just taking on way too much damage. So I definitely want to make sure I keep all my buffs up. I'd say average times are right just under like 30 minutes. I'd say I see 25-minute runs pretty often for me now. This 16-minute run is my best to date, and again, bad ones can still go well over that. So pathing through the map, usually try to kind of hug to walls, especially the more crowded, the denser rolls. Denser rolls tend to have like stacked auras and stuff also, so always can make a big difference there too. So those Night Lords, the Ghoul Lords, the little vampire dudes, are the ones that cast Frozen Orb. That's actually the thing that kills my mercenary the most, I would say. So I think actually stacking Cold Res on him would be really good. And then when there's a Conviction Aura, that gets really rough. If there's Conviction Aura with those Frozen Orbs flying around, because they cast pretty fast also, so there's not much of a break in between them. Here I'm running into a big fat Fanaticism pack, so that's why I backed away. I can draw them towards me kind of in a slower, like, single file line, so the faster ones come up to attack first, and then I can take them out and kind of whittle down the forces. Also helps when you can remove the aura as well. There you see Conviction on the Witch as well, so thankfully there's no Frozen Orbs flying around at this exact moment, but that's never fun. It is a little bit of a mini marathon. I mean, especially on those like 45-minute runs, you're doing a lot of this stuff on repeat. And the Merc can die. The Merc can definitely die. Honestly, I'm using the majority of my full rejuves on my Merc because based on positioning, I don't have the ability to teleport on this build. Actually, adding that would be really sweet, but I don't have teleport on it at the moment. And so repositioning for the Merc can be tough. A lot of times I'm just trying to kind of cover wherever he's standing. So if he moves too far away, then that's when I will move over and try to save him. And hopefully I have the time to rejuve for him also. Okay, and then here in this room, we've got the mini boss. So midway through the map, you have your first boss, and next to this, outside of this room, is actually a barrier preventing you from reaching the second level. So after you kill him, that's when it will come up. He does a bone spear and some like firestorm stuff. It doesn't really hurt very much. The drops again are kind of just like a number of fail drops or boss drops, and so again, just nothing super special has actually come of this yet. So a little bit disappointing on that front. I thought the buffed drops this season might be a little bit more noticeable, but so far not yet for me. But like I said, killing the middle boss takes you over to, opens you up to be able to reach the second level. So as I get through these mobs, that'll take me to the staircase down below. Yep, and so then the second level is just a different layout, but all the same mobs. When things get rough, I double back and do that same strategy. Again, these misshapens, the ones that shoot the lightning bolts, they're the physical immune ones, as well as bloodbringers. So anytime I'm swinging and not leeching, I'm pretty much screwed. So I do have to back off, and hopefully I have the time to do so. Dying sucks. It means I have to restart because there's the chances of recovering body are basically zero. So I have to leave, rejoin, and run from the start. Not the, I mean, it's like, it adds like an extra 60 seconds or something maybe to the run, but it's very frustrating. Dying just sucks. So, this part at least has pretty narrow corridors, so usually pretty straightforward to run through. Not like I'm speeding through it ever or anything like that, but it's kind of steady progress through. Only if I see really bad auras do I ever really need to back up from here. Making my way through, see a close call there as well. When there's a lot of damage flying at you, it just happens sometimes. So, yep, those succubus throwing those balls from way off screen, always annoying. Again, just trying to make sure that I keep my revive count up as well. It's just to have my army around me at all times. And I am getting very close to the second boss room here. Just a little bit farther up is going to be the second boss. This room is always super stacked as well, so I do try to do this one in a couple of rounds. So usually I'll go in, grab a bunch of the aggro, and then try to back up, draw those enemies back with me, and then kind of whittle them down. I find that sometimes I run back too far also. If I back up a little bit less, it can often be a little bit better for keeping the aggro and having them kind of single file line over to me. If I run so far away, a lot of times I just forget about me and stop over there. So I do that maybe a couple of times. Make sure that I have my potions and stuff and army all set up, and then yeah, there you see him, the kind of darker shaded, he's called the Stygian Beast, in that same Bloodbringer or Beast style. That Fisher / Armageddon Volcano spell that he does hits like a truck, and so that really does whittle down the HP really fast. It can wipe me out a lot of the time, but generally speaking I try to just DPS through it. So the drops, it's actually quite annoying to leave the map and go back to the drops. It really screws with the loot filter, because it's just so much stuff on the ground. But I'll sort through the loot to let you guys see it. But that was pretty much the run. That was 2 boss kills down in 1 dungeon map. There is a stat you can do for all stats that tracks the number of dungeon boss kills, but it only counts the second boss. So if you look at that, you can see how many dungeon boss kills you have. Okay, and so that Viper fork, probably one of my better drops actually. But alright, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for staying to the end, and I will catch you on the next one.